This is Average Sports.
By your average guys,
Eric.
and Ty. That would be so bad.
Yeah. This is Average Sports.
Your average sports.
Average Sports.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode
You're
of
listening to Average Sports with your average guys.
Average Sports, average guys, Eric and Ty.
Well, it's the year that never really was in sports, and it's coming to an end. My gosh, I'm glad to see it go. But we got a lot to talk about still.
We sure do.
Yeah, you got to tune to another episode of Average Sports with your average guys, Eric and Ty. I'm Ty, and that's Eric over here.
Whoa, what's up, man?
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm excited for this episode because not only is it the season finale, but it's one of the more fun episodes that we can do where we talk about everything that happened this year and the lack thereof, though. This one's going to be a little different, but it's still, I promise, chock full of some
we got good
morsels.
stuff, man. So,
good ones.
You know, it's a big recap show.
Yeah.
But we still want to remember all the fun stuff that we talked about this
including
year.
our big buttholes
in sports.
So we always start off the show with the butthole in sports. Who
That's
did
right.
something just either dumb or just really inappropriate, or it covers the spectrum of
the whole
whoever.
gambit.
Yeah. But for this year, the biggest butthole, of course, I mean, come on, that's low-hanging. It's COVID. That's just, right? There's no argument there. So we got some, runner-ups for you, though.
Well, we just went back and looked at all of our show docs, and I think we listed COVID in some way, shape, or form on at least half of our episodes.
Yeah. So going back, though, so there were some other interesting ones that came up. Anything from Korean sex dolls happening at the
You loved
major.
that one.
I did love that one. I wasn't
so
actually
excited to
ashamed
talk
of that.
about
Yeah,
that.
that was hilarious. It was great. But they got fined for it. I'm like, well, they were doing something. They were making light of a bad situation. No, not having
should have
fans
let
in
them
the
stay
stands.
in there. It was awesome.
And then from the Astros, though, coming off of their scandal of being outed basically for cheating.
Yeah, it was 7 hit by pitches right out the gate.
Yeah.
Which,
hey, I'm okay with
somewhat deserved.
I mean, don't you think a whole lot of deserved?
Yeah.
All right.
Whole lot of deserved.
All right. What other buttholes did you come across, Eric?
I mean, of course, we had one of the big ones out there, Kyle Larson. If you don't know who that is or remember, he's a NASCAR driver that was doing virtual races and then decided he was going to drop the N-word during a live stream virtual race, which was not great.
Nope.
And then we had Novak Djokovic's ball incident where he slammed a ball behind him and hit one of the linesmen.
Oh no!
And he had to retire. Because he hit it that hard in frustration.
Yeah, that was a bad moment, but
person's okay. But.
Right. Yeah, that was just a little bit lack of judgment. I mean, it's a practice that happens all the time where a player's hitting a ball, but this one I think was misguided. I don't think he was actually intending to even hit to a judge, or I don't know what was happening. Either way, he hit it way too hard. Judge wasn't paying attention, took one in the throat. I mean, not a good moment. No. But anyway, let's talk about the champions of 2020.
Oh man, and it started so good.
Yeah, despite what the break and the outage of sports, we still had just a champion just about in every professional sport that we were looking at.
And there was even one, we had two.
That's right. Yeah, there were two MLS Cups. Yeah.
Within a couple of months of each other.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's pretty awesome. So obviously we started the year with LSU and rookie sensation Joe Burrow until he broke his leg. Beating down Clemson, which was fun to see. We didn't have another Alabama-Clemson rematch, which finally, but Clemson was still in it. But this year, it looks like Alabama is most likely going to be in it. So we'll go with that. And then the Chiefs won their first Super Bowl.
I know.
Which was super exciting.
Which led to some Pat Mahomes money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was a big deal.
Hey, big time, man. That was awesome.
Which they look like they have a good chance of showing it back up for a repeat.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the AFC is tougher than the NFC.
Yeah.
But they certainly are looking good and have a good path to get there. So, yeah.
I mean, would you bet money that they won't show up to the Super Bowl this year?
If I had to go between the Chiefs and the field, I would almost always take the field. I don't think they're that far above the field. Are they good? Yeah. Are they best team in the conference? Arguably. Especially with how Pittsburgh's played the last 2 weeks, I think you could make that argument the Chiefs are better.
I mean, they're going to get a bye. They're going to be healthy. They have a good shot at showing back up.
Only one team gets a bye.
Oh, that's right. They won't.
Yeah. New playoff structure.
You're right.
Only one team.
Yeah, because they're not going to have the best record.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, the Steelers did lose since last time.
Lost two, but I think they're still one game behind.
Yeah. All right. So
I don't know. It's not our Lightning standings this week. So
no,
we
it's
won't
not.
Find out.
All right. Before we get too far away with it, we still have some other champions to talk about. Who else? So the MLS Cup did happen later in the summer when we were supposed to have the Olympics this year. Eric, remember that Tokyo?
I do.
Well, hopefully that's happening. It's still happening.
Summer 2021.
Okay. So we'll get ready for that. But unfortunately, then we can't recap anything that happened in the Olympics. But we'll look forward to seeing that in the coming months. But the MLS did play in their bubble in Orlando, and the Portland Timbers won that back to soccer championship. That was a fun thing to watch, and it was one of the first sports that really got back to it.
Yeah, they were the first, actually, because they started early.
I think
July.
NASCAR was back, if you want to be very technical. Or that stupid marble racing that you like to watch.
Oh, that was so silly.
Very silly.
So silly.
Columbus Crew, though, took the second MLS Cup. And how about some other major sports? Eric, NBA, NHL, they both did the bubble format.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I love the bubble format with what was going on, and it clearly worked. We talked about that on an episode recently. Maybe it was the last episode. We talked about the bubble system, and if completely coming out of the bubble is giving that kind of false sense of security. But you can go back and listen to that episode. But Los Angeles Lakers were the champions this year in the NBA as they are about to pick back up for the NBA season this week. Tampa Bay Lightning were the champions in the NHL finally after, it
was a long drought, but they have won before. Yeah.
They were the number one seed for many, many years, and always projected a big winner and always kind of flopped, and they pulled it off this year. So congrats to them. Back-to-back championships for Pat Maroon.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, right.
And then the Los Angeles Dodgers.
The who?
The Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah, you got to say it your way, Eric.
The LA Dodgers, man, they looked super dominant. They were a strong club, and this year's format. So before we really get into how what MLB did this year and how they came back, but the Dodgers themselves, this was a season that was built for them. They always, even though they have strength throughout a season, for some reason, whether it's just attrition or something that doesn't come together for them in the playoffs, it came together for them this year because it just seemed like the fewer games they got to play, then their strength really won out for them. It was no surprise that they got as far as they did and did cap off with a World Series win. So good series though all around, but just solid club. Yeah, I mean,
not a whole lot of
Dodgers, just like I have the Lightning the last several years. It's a team that was always heavily favored.
Right.
Is the number one or number two pick, going into the playoffs to win, and then just having something, huge happen where, everyone always, poops on Clayton Kershaw.
Right. Couldn't get it done. But now, I mean, what was that, 13 years in the league? Something crazy like that?
Yeah.
Now he's got a ring, so congratulations to him for sure. You got to be happy for that kind of moment in sports where it's not another Tom Brady just winning championship after champion. Great, yeah, you're the best. Good.
Yeah,
we like seeing new champions. That's cool.
I do too. Yeah.
But MLB, let's go over that because they did not do the bubble format. It
did not go well for them out the gate.
They had some hiccups.
A few.
The
Marlins and the Cardinals in particular.
Notable teams
decided
that just
to take about 2 weeks off each.
Right.
And just decide not to play because it ran entirely through their locker rooms.
And just in the scheduling, I mean, we're facing a real possibility of seeing that again this year. Already the 21 MLB season is impacted by the pandemic, and there's no set date to start spring training, and there really isn't a definitive opening date. Even though a schedule was made, nothing is official.
Made?
Yeah.
Air quotes.
And I know they're working on it.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this a bunch. MLB is kind of slow to change. I think they're going to try and stay steadfast and have players report as close to as normal as possible, but that doesn't mean that it's going to work out the way that they want it to. Just because vaccines are starting to roll out now, and I had several of my nurse friends yesterday post that they were getting it or that they did get it. It doesn't mean that, athletes are going to be at the front of the line. They're typically probably people aren't that, are high risk that are typically athletes. Not to say that they aren't, because there are quite a few, but I think this is, it may be a while before, us common folk, healthy people.
It's going to take some time. That's your point. Yeah. So nothing is set in stone for MLB, especially because they're not entertaining that bubble format. I mean, really any league that's not doing a bubble they are going to have to really define those policies and regulations, which we've seen time and time across the NFL and college, that if you break protocol, there are consequences. Like our 1 week of Butthole in Sports with the Broncos quarterbacks who didn't get to play a couple weeks ago. They had to call in a backup wide receiver who used to play quarterback and he made 2 passes. That was crazy.
It was awful.
Yeah, it's a weird moment. It's something you don't want to see in
I think
professional
the stat
sports.
Line was like 1 for
What's a
13,
quarterback rating for that?
For 13 yards to Noah Fant.
Yeah.
It's the only completed pass, if I remember correctly.
Nice. And he's going to remember that completion. Let's stay with the champions, though. We talked about the Dodgers then. Congrats going out to them for that abbreviated series or season. Let's see, the Masters, though, that was postponed. And then we had a date. It was November when they got to head out to Augusta and play the Masters. And Dustin Johnson
dominated.
Yes. Destroyed it.
Absolutely dominated.
Sliced and diced.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good golfer.
Yeah. Now, you have put in a moment about Tiger Woods with that.
I mean, it's kind of one of the topics we have for our recap, but in the Masters, he shot a 10 on hole number 12, including several shots went into the water.
I don't remember how to play golf. Is that good?
According to the rule book, no.
Oh.
No, that's not good.
You don't want points in golf.
No, you want to be lower.
Oh, yeah, lower number. All right, one more champion, though, to talk about, and we will segue into the recap topic of the year. I'm hating on Woods. I'm sorry. Couldn't help myself. U.S. Open for tennis. So a bunch of tennis still did happen. No Wimbledon this year. Did miss that going out to the old grass court, but a French Open occurred and Australian Open. So those Grand Slams were handed out. But just looking at the U.S. Open, Dominic Thiem and Naomi Osaka for the men's singles and women's singles were the champions. Look out for Osaka. She is going to be a dominant force on that side. She's like the new gen coming out for women's tennis.
We need that.
Yeah,
I mean, just like golf had that, is having that huge revolution of younger players, since the exit of Woods, we've been wanting someone to
that superstar status kind of thing
for post Williams sisters.
Yeah, absolutely. So even though their career is not done, but they are phasing out. We're seeing
just like Woods' career
and everyone
done.
Right.
They'll be there, but
absolutely
probably not going to win anymore.
No, it's not a dig on them, but it's, changing of the guard kind of thing. Let's then begin with that recap of 2020, just on observations, the moments that happened that impacted 2020, what made that year. Give me some things, Eric. We had to, of course, then shift the way we would traditionally do things, and that meant a lot of virtual experiences. And the first thing that was peculiar was the draft.
It was one of my favorite moments of 2020. And it's because when the draft happened, I can't remember the exact dates now, but it was probably like April or May. It was incredible. I mean, you hadn't had any sports since everything shut down, mid-March. All the way up until really the draft was one of the first things that gave you some sort of sense of, this is what's going on, this is what's happening. And I thought they did a really great job with how to produce it, how to, keep it fun and exciting for people that were watching. It was one of the first times I've legit watched the draft start to finish. Now, I mean, part of that is, again, because there's nothing else on to watch.
Not a whole lot, yeah.
And you're already bored of, most of your other TV shows. Tiger King at the time, you were probably done with that. And, Carol Baskin murdering her husband. So it was just something different. It was super cool. I thoroughly enjoyed this year's NFL draft and how they did it, and which was very interesting. And the best part about it was, every year Roger Goodell, when he comes out, he gets booed like crazy. And so they leaned into that super hard and like had all the fans that were there like on the screen, throughout the whole time, like boo. And like he was like egging them on. So, I mean, it was a cool moment for that.
Yeah. All right. You can respect that. Do you think they keep a similar format going into next season?
I think for 2021, yes.
Okay.
I think they will try and return to normal when they can, but for 2020,